We're not moving. We're your science teachers, and that's right. Scrolling. And we are going to review with you what you need to know for 1.3 science, pages 26 through 28 for your reading. The first thing that the textbook talks about is that the periodic table has 3 distinct regions. So you should be able to tell us right now, because we're listening,
what are the 3 regions? What was that?
Crickets.
Did you say metals, nonmetals, and metalloids?
Ding, 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 ding. Then you are correct. The next piece of information that we are going over is, we forgot to check off, is reactive. So the definition for reactive that you need to know is what?
Anybody?
Yes, you in the back with your hand raised. What was that? Yes. How likely an element is to undergo a chemical change. And we're going to be learning over these next few pages that all depending on an element's location and which group it's in will determine just how reactive that element really is.
But first, let's talk about metals in general. What are some characteristics of metals? You should know this from your everyday life. But according to your reading, you should know that metals conduct heat and electricity well and have a shiny appearance. They are also easily bended or shaped. In other words, they are malleable.
Now that we have background characteristics of what metals are, going through with the textbook, we're going to talk about metals that are most reactive to metals that are going to be least reactive. We know that in the textbook, the most reactive group of metals is what? Group 1 is correct, and those metals are called the alkali metals. The alkali metals are all located in Group 1, and believe it or not, they are so extremely reactive that many of them need to be stored in oil. Why is that? Mrs. Bunt, why is that?
Well, that is because they react rapidly with oxygen and water vapor, and if you do not store them in oil, they will explode.
And that could be messy in the science lab. The lake, big lake.
Some examples of these elements would be sodium or potassium, which you should know by looking at your periodic table and looking at Group 1.
Very good. Some of the other things that are important of these Group 1 alkali metals is that they are essential for functionings in living cells. Many of these earth metals can be found in living organisms, and they're needed for an organism's survival.
Now moving on to Group 2. The metals in Group 2, alkaline earth metals, are less reactive than Group 1. However, they are still fairly reactive compared to other elements.
The thing that's very interesting about Group 2 elements is, if you remember from 1.2, they are going to give away 2 electrons to become a +2 ion. Group 1, because they're so reactive, only needs to give away 1 electron to become a +1 ion. Some certain characteristics that are found in the Group 2 alkali earth metals, or alkaline earth metals, both the names can be the same, are what, Mrs. Bunt?
Well, they are less reactive, but more reactive than most metals. One example of an alkaline earth metal is calcium, which is an essential part of your diet. It's found in your bones and your teeth.
Some other things that are found in the Group 2 alkali or alkaline earth metals are going to be magnesium. And magnesium is also a very light, inexpensive metal that it's often combined with other metals to make things for like airplane frames or other lightweight materials.
Moving on to our next group of metals that we're going to talk about. These take up the middle of the periodic table, groups 3 through 12, and they are called the transition metals. Here would be things such as copper, gold, silver, and iron.
And the transition metals, out of the 3 groupings of metals, are the least reactive. They will have certain properties that will be kind of interchangeable, which makes them the least reactive. But there's many metals that we are familiar with, like gold, silver, iron, some that are even found in small amounts in our diets. The things that's also interesting with the transition metals is they were the earliest known elements to be found.
And those are your metals that are going to be found in your jewelry and your coins.
Now, tying in with jewelry and coins, Many of those items are not always pure substances. Most of the times they are what's called an alloy. And an alloy is when there are going to be a combination of two or more metals combined, not chemically, but mixed together to create a stronger substance. For example, a gold necklace is not pure gold, all depending on if it's 10 karat or 18 karat or 24 karat gold tells you how much metal has been mixed with it to make it either soft or more durable.
And our last category of metals that we are going to talk about today are your rare earth metals, or your rare earth elements as your book refers to them. They are in the top row of the two rows of metals that are usually at the bottom of your periodic table. They're outside the main part of your periodic table.
And they're actually going to cover elements 58 through 71 dropped below. And it will start with the lanthanum. These metals, the rare earth metals, are sometimes also referred to as the lanthanides or the lanthanoids. What makes them considered rare earth metals is they used to be extremely difficult to find because they were located deep within the earth and in rocks and structures like that. But as time has gone on, it's not that they're rare, they were just hard to isolate. But with technology, we're able to find them better.
There are many different uses for the rare earth elements. Some of them, such as europium, symbol EU, are used to coat television tubes. Some of them are used to make the protective coating on the outside of a welder's helmet, for example. And that covers the information that you were to be reading tonight from pages 26 through 28.
If you have any questions about any of the information that you read or some of the things that we've mentioned after you watch this video, please write them down so we can discuss them tomorrow in class. Also, please make sure you're reading for content, taking it apart paragraph by paragraph, and if some of this information went too quick for you, take the time and review it again to help further your informational learning.
Or if you just want to watch us some more.
All right, bye.
Bye.